Hey, Ashley, are you there?
Hi, Mark. I'm here.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. So we're gonna start at about 2, just giving persons time to join.
Okay, it's fine.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Just wanted to say thanks for joining and welcome, welcome. It is 2 o'clock. I'm just gonna give persons a few more minutes to join. I know that we're going through a lot now in Jamaica. You know, we have a spike in COVID cases and we're having some rainy weather. So persons might be up and about trying to stock up to lessen their journeys to the supermarkets and so on. So I do know that, you know, persons may be late to joining today or possibly may not be able to make it. So I'm just giving persons about 5 more minutes to join and then we will begin. Okay, thank you. Welcome again, everyone, on this rainy Monday in Jamaica. Thanks for joining us. Remember, as interactive as possible, feel free to turn on your cameras and mute your mics unless it is that Mark is going to have an interactive session. But thanks for joining us, everyone. I would just like to say, thank you for continuously joining our sessions. I know they're usually on a Tuesday, and today we're having it on a Monday. But I do believe that our series has been very impactful and the feedback has been very positive. And we're looking forward to having a great final session with you. Today we have Mark, where he'll be presenting on corporate social responsibility. Mark has been a successful sales manager in the food and beverage industry for over 12 years and has helped grow companies from startup to over $250 million. And I mean, corporate social responsibility, I find, is something that is not practiced as often, and some persons don't always see the value in it, but there is value in giving back. And I believe that this is a very timely conversation based on what we're going through right now. So I'm going to hand over to Mark.
Great,
Mark,
thank
you are
you.
currently co-host, so you can share your screen, or I can bring up the presentation for you. You can let me know.
Thanks, Ashley. Yeah, I'll share my screen. And we have here. Okay, you see that?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So first of all, thanks for inviting me, Ashley, to the Vincent Hosang Entrepreneur Program. And today I'd like to talk to your students about corporate social responsibility, and more so a lot of social responsibility during the time of COVID. As we all know, we're living in unprecedented times now. And so I'd like to share with you the companies that I work with, and how we give back from a corporate standpoint and from a social responsibility standpoint. So yeah, first and foremost, so I've been with a company called Califia Farms for about 10 years now. We were a startup in California, hence the name Califia Farms. And what we've done is we are a 100% vegan business. Our founder, Greg Steltenpole, founded the company Odwalla. So if any of you are from the States, you may know Odwalla was the real first fruit juice in a bottle. So it was the first ready to drink juice in a bottle. He was the first pioneer to do that out of Santa Cruz, California. And later on, that company was sold to Coca-Cola, I think for about $125 to $200 million. A few years later, I ran into Greg with another opportunity, and he started Califia Farms and called me immediately. And we were onto something. The beverage industry or the consumer was starting to adopt veganism and non-dairy products, along with a healthier diet, less soda, better for you products. And so he went around to a few trade shows, tried some products, and knew that he could do better than what was happening now. So we created an almond milk and a full line of fruit juices, and all of a sudden the product started taking off. So 10 years from now, and now $250+ million, here we are in the field with a vegan company. So that's a little bit about Califia Farms. 1951 Coffee, I'm a board member with 1951. So the company was founded in actually 2015, and the word 1951 comes from the Refugee Convention, which was held in 1951. So a little bit about the company. 1951 Coffee was founded in 2015 as a nonprofit. So we promote the well-being for refugees. We help them with working visas, and we train them within the food service business so that they can go on to bigger companies such as Blue Bottle, Joe and the Juice, and a lot of these multinational companies will hire these refugees. And so that's what we love to do at 1951 is we love to help people, bring them to the United States, assimilate them, and give them an opportunity to grow within the business community in the Bay Area, or if they decide to move, we have at least equipped them and tooled them to deal with other companies and hopefully become successful with those companies. So any questions about either of those two companies? Okay. So today I'd like to talk about corporate social responsibility, and fortunately for me, both of the companies that I work for are big advocates of corporate social responsibility internally and externally within the business community and the community that we serve. So as entrepreneurs, what is our corporate and social responsibility? Well, first and foremost, we're running a business. So the responsibility to profitability to the employees, to the board, and the shareholders. And normally those words are rearranged. So it's normally to the board, the shareholders, and then that trickles down. From my point of view, though, it comes back to the employees, because without happy employees, without employees that are mission driven, it's simply harder to hit targets and become profitable. And the company board is always going to be lifted by the employees. Without the employees and without workers that are working very hard, nothing can sustain the company or the board. So that's kind of my rationale with how companies should be ran. Care for our natural and vital resources. There's a lot of talk about climate change out there. I'm sure, with COVID happening, everything happens in ebb and flow. And so there are a lot of good times that happen, and then there are bad times. Well, the more we care for our natural resources, the longer the good times will take and the bad times won't be as bad. So if we can take care of Mother Earth, which both of our companies like to do, we can bounce back from these harsher times such as COVID, which is happening now. And then we have an impact of doing business on a global scale, which could affect climate change. So what is your impact? What is your responsibility as a company? What responsibility do you have to the earth? Because everyone is talking about Mars travel, but no one is getting on a plane anytime soon to go inhabit Mars. So this is the best that we're going to get. We have to take care of what we have now. Corporate and social responsibility during COVID-19, giving back. So as a company, how are you giving back to your community? In our business right now, the food service business and the smaller cafes and smaller business owners have been decimated. So how can you pivot with your other businesses to hopefully help those guys who are in need? And that translates into the other bullet point, helping small business within the food industry. What is Califia Farms doing? What are we doing at 1951 to help the smaller guys in the business food service industry? And then lastly, why give back? How does that translate into dollars? So you see this circle going around with business, and that basically, there's a cycle. Everything has a cycle. I mean, the world has a cycle, business has a cycle, and smaller businesses and customers all have a cycle. So we're going to talk about those things. Any questions? Okay, let's get going. So this was our first business, the Califia Farms, our company trajectory. So the company was founded in 2010 as a 100% vegan company. In 2011, we developed a 40,000 square foot bottling plant, which keeps growing in Bakersfield, California. That's in the heart of the San Joaquin Valley. So I'd say about 70 to 80% of the fruits and nuts that are made in the United States or are grown in the United States come from Bakersfield. In 2012, we had our first pallet of juice. So we started out as a juicing company. There's a product in the United States called Cuties brand which I think was fourth or fifth behind Apple as one of the most trusted brands in the United States. They're basically small clementines that we marketed as cuties. And you know, the value of that name brand was just enormous enough and helped us pivot and launch into a few grocery stores. After that, in 2013, we launched our almond milk beverages, which quickly became the #1 almond milk brand in the nation in the natural business. And in the natural business, I'm talking about Whole Foods and more of the natural grocery stores. After that, we went into coffee. So we started producing cold brew coffee at our Califia Farms plant. After that, we went into creamers. So between 2013 and 2015, you'll notice the picture of the latte cup there. So that is a latte with our almond milk. So a lot of coffee shops, these third wave coffee shops, started to adopt our almond milks and use them in their coffee shops because our almond milk was so good that it was the closest thing to dairy milk. And so between 2015, we started launching into, I'd say 70 to 80% of the third wave coffee shops. These are the coffee shops that are spending a lot of time and resources into finding their coffee beans and choosing the best coffee beans for their customers. In 2016, here we go with the expansion of our plant. The plant capacity grew by 50%. 2017, we entered the United Kingdom and Australia, and we shifted to 100% trade coffee beans. So that, again, is in alignment with social and corporate responsibility. Now, by purchasing directly from the coffee farmers, we cut out the middleman, and that allows that community to grow internally. So we're actually helping communities directly by purchasing directly with them their coffee beans. So that helps the communities over there. Because thinking about coffee as a commodity, if you have a commodity and the price keeps getting lower and lower and lower, at some point there's going to be a period where the farmers just cannot produce that coffee anymore at a good price. So what are they going to do? The coffee growers are going to go ahead and grow another crop. And people of the world love their coffee. And at some point, if we don't purchase directly from them or give them a good valuable price for their commodity, you know, in a matter of years, your cup of coffee will cost you $10 to $12, or it would be hyperinflated by 50 to 75%. So we're one of those companies that believes in being fair to the coffee growers and buying directly from them. So that ties into the Califia Farms ethos. And 2018, launch of our first probiotic dairy company. So we have vegan yogurts, and we've decided to cut all of our product-based sugars by 40%. We've been doing that since 2015, and we continually monitor and test and taste all of our products with keeping in mind that we want to reduce sugar intake, because the sugar is, you know, we're finding a lot of science saying that sugar is what is causing a lot of these ailments: heart disease, obesity, type 2 diabetes. Sugar is a big problem. So we want to be one of those companies that leads the way in having a healthier, better for you product while making a profit. So again, it's that circle. We're doing the best that we can. We're selling a lot of products, but we're continually going back to R&D, going back to our customers, our constituents, our customer base, saying, hey, thank you, you know, and now to thank you more, we're going to go ahead and make the product even better for you. So again, it's this circle, this continuous circle of, okay, if we're doing well, you know, we want to come back and make sure that you're doing well internally by purchasing our products. We were talking about climate change. And again, these are a few clips of what's happening in the climate now. You know, the biggest news probably is the Amazon rainforest You know, what happens in the Amazon is that a lot of a company like McDonald's will just wipe out forests and forests of the Amazon where they can grow cattle and they're going to have their cheaper meat there. But the Amazon, you know, if the Amazon rainforest is not being self-sustained, then you have a fire that wipes out half of, or not half, but a large portion of the Amazon rainforest. The Amazon rainforest is where we get a lot of the oxygen, a lot of our oxygen. So wiping out the Amazon rainforest just for cattle would be catastrophic for the whole world. So again, us being a vegan company, Califia Farms being a vegan company, is very crucial to our ethos and the mindset that, hey, we're going to be better for you, whether it's coffee, yogurts, it doesn't matter what it is. We even have vegan butters now. Anything we do, we have basically the consumer in mind. It's a better for you product. It's a cleaner product, and it goes back to being better for the earth, which helps and affects everybody. 10 years of impact. So here's a slide that our sustainability director had made for me. So Califia Farms has been in business for 10 years. This is a bottle of our product. And if you want, Ashley, I can actually, I'll FedEx you some of our product. I think we may have some product in Jamaica, I'm not sure. But this is the company. 750 million pounds of carbon has been saved as a result of our sales and for people not drinking dairy milk. Or that would be 141,000 cars off of the road, or 101,000 homes being powered. You know, and as we trend that, as we scale up for business, that those numbers become exponentially larger. 8.9 billion gallons of water is saved. That is tremendous, or 13,500 Olympic pools. So again, we're talking about resources, keeping the resources there where we can, and again, being a healthier product. 25,000 acres of land. We're talking about the Brazilian rainforest and other rainforests or other areas being affected by mass production for cattle, meat, and dairy milk. Well, again, by drinking almond milk and drinking oat milk and alternatives, you do have, keeping in mind, you're going to be healthier. And again, the world, the sake of the world is going to be healthier as well. And 8,000 cows, we've saved 8,000 cows basically within the 10 years of impact of people drinking almond milk, alternative milks, and oat milks. So again, what is our responsibility? Well, just by being a vegan company or a plant-based company, we're coming full circle all the time. We're being socially responsible, not only to our shareholders, because our company is growing in a very good trajectory, but we are being very good to the planet, and we're being very good to Mother Earth, which is very important.
I'm getting a question here where, how is the carbon saved measured?
I don't know exactly. I'd have to get that information from my director, but I would do that. You know, I can get back to you immediately and send you an email.
Sure, thanks.
So giving back during times of distress and duress. So, you know, we're very lucky at Califia Farms. We have a lot of big grocery stores and a lot of the smaller grocery stores. And during the time of COVID, people started to hoard all of these products. So luckily, almond milk and oat milk, you can put in a Tetra Pak, which means the product does not have to be refrigerated. You can leave it outside in ambient temperature, and the product has like a year's shelf life. So a lot of people were hoarding those products and buying them. So as a result, our sales within the grocery community started flying through the roof. However, that impact, and I'm sure you see it in every part of the world, has impacted the smaller grocery stores and the smaller cafes. So that being said, a lot of our business was taken away, and I head up that business, the food service business within the cafe culture. So what are we going to do? How can we support them? You know, how do we give back to that business community? So Califia Farms, We pledged at least 1 million servings of our oat milk and almond milk to individuals, families, frontliners, and healthcare workers. And I believe right now we're at about 950,000 servings. So we're close to our 1 million servings that we decided to put out there as a number. And I'm sure as this goes on, the number is going to go higher. So in my opinion, we're going to go over the 1 million servings that we've had. We made this happen through partnerships such as Feeding America, Feeding the Front Lines, Founders Gives, Meals on Wheels, food banks, public schools, and more. And what I did to the right-hand side, you can see on your screen, these are screenshots from Instagram here. Home San Francisco is a cafe shop in San Francisco, California. They went to the VA Medical Center, and there they were supporting the frontliners. You can see nurses and doctors with our products there. And Califia Farms, we would partner with these local coffee shops and restaurants to help the frontliners. Over here to the right-hand side, on the upper right-hand corner, you'll see us again in the VA Medical Center, helping those frontliners who are working tireless hours. And obviously the best thing to have is coffee and cream. So it was win-win for us. That comes back to the community. That again shows Califia Farms cares about us. What you're doing is the right thing to do. And right now, special efforts are underway to support our cafes and baristas who've been shut down. And what we're doing is direct donations to the local coffee shops and in our main markets, so New York, Los Angeles, San Francisco. And we also donated, I believe it was 2 pallets to Puerto Rico when Puerto Rico had that really horrible storm. So we donated it through one of our partner companies in New York City. So we're very proud of what we do. Again, working within the food service cafe and barista community, that business is very well community driven. Like you have to be a part of the community. The minute you're part of the coffee or cafe community, immediately you're indoctrinated. So that being said, if the coffee community, the third wave coffee community grabs onto you, immediately you're going to be a part of that community. And so immediately you're going to dive into this world where you're constantly giving back, helping a lot of what these are artists in the community, but these are also the leaders within this business community. Because what happens in third wave coffee first happens everywhere else later. That being said, if there's a new trend that I see in San Francisco or in the Pacific Northwest, say Seattle or Los Angeles, where hemp milk is going to be a new thing, that will translate into dollars over at the larger grocery stores, and that will catch on mainstream. However, it will always happen first in the coffee community. So for our business, and it's especially important for me to pay attention and always be a part of that community, because those are where the artists start. Those are the artists of food. So it's vitally important for us to take care of that community. Any questions?
I'm seeing some questions in the chat. One
Okay.
person is asking if it is that almond milk does not need refrigeration for up to a year.
Yeah, so what we do is we have, it's a Tetra Pak. So we have a technology, and actually I have a picture here. This is our oat milk, but this is called a Tetra Pak. So this pack is made in the United States. And what happens is there's a technology where the air is sucked out of the product. So air is what kills the product. So if the air is sucked out of that product, you'll have a longer lasting product that doesn't need to be refrigerated. Now, once you open the product, you do have to refrigerate it, and it would last anywhere from 7 to 10 days after that. So that's how the technology is made, and that's how we are able to make these products.
Then another question is, do you have to clear large portions of land to grow the almonds, or does it require small spaces?
It does require some land, but what's happening is, the land is utilized as plants. These are plants that are growing. These are, you know, fruits. An almond is actually a fruit. When it first starts out, it's a fruit. So, you know, yeah, there is some land that is being used, but we are not using half of the resources that it takes to house, you know, a group of cows that are being used for meat and milk. So yes, there are large plots of land dedicated for almonds and oats. But again, these are plants, and you know, the sustainability factor, it's a lot cleaner for the environment.
Okay, that's it for questions in the chat for now.
Hmm?
That's it for questions in the chat
Okay.
for now.
Okay, great. So why give back? You know, why do we need to give back? Whether it's give back to the employees or give back to our team out there. We call them teammates. The cafe channel, the grocery channel, our customers, and why give back to Mother Earth? Well, you know, if we're doing well for the earth, it's good for all of us. It's good for everybody. So I'm in a unique position where our products really talk to basically the world, because we are advocates of fair trade, direct trade with the coffee growers. We're advocates for healthier living and a healthier lifestyle, and we're advocates for plant-based products. So the more, obviously, the more plants that you know, grow into the earth, the better it's going to be for all of us. So what about the corporate aspect of it? Well, millennials and Gen Z, they expect their ethos to align with companies they choose to support. If you notice now on Instagram, it really is, you know, who do I align myself with? It's extremely important. When we first started coming out with our almond milks, we noticed a lot of people were taking pictures of their refrigerators because they were proud to show that they were supporting a company like ours. So with Instagram and social media, TikTok, you're going to see a lot of alignment from Gen X, Gen Z, and millennials. And if you are not in alignment with their ethos and the way they think, you're going to be climbing up with a lot of weight on your shoulders. It's just a lot harder to go against the flow than with the flow. And it's a natural boost for sales and goodwill. You know, nothing is better than to have to show this kind of support. Again, on the right hand side, this is the VA, this is the Veterans Hospital in San Francisco. And we've been supporting all of the hospitals, whether it's New York City, San Francisco, the Pacific Northwest, Los Angeles, or any place that needs help. We have been helping them. And, you know, this free advertisement here will translate into dollars, will translate into that good ethos, that goodwill, and that's free advertising. I didn't ask this coffee shop to take a photo. They just did. And as you can see, the hashtag there, Califia Farms, and all these other companies, we're all in alignment with them. So choosing who you want to be in alignment with is also extremely important. Because if you're in alignment with a company that's not doing these things, that may take you into a different direction. So again, being in the food service industry, there's a sense of community. You know, every part of business has a sense of community. So really you have to decide and you have to make a decision. Where are you going to go? You know, how can you best support your company? And through social responsibility, these circles just keep working for you. They will work for you. They won't work against you. If you don't do anything outside of the box, but just go out and sell your product, people will notice, especially nowadays because of social media. So again, are you doing good for sales? Yes, 0 to 250 to $300 million within 10 years is really good. Shareholders are happy. We're meeting our numbers. Okay. Are you doing good by your customers? Yes. You know, how do you know that, Mark? Well, you know, we're getting hit on social media everywhere, and these are really good positive hits that we're getting on social media. So again, do good by the community, and the community will do good by you. And it pays to be socially responsible. So you'll notice on this chart, this is a generic chart of what happened in our company. And you'll notice here in the one small sector, week 18 and week 17, that was the week leading up to COVID. You can see a drastic waterfall drop here, but during that time, the numbers are even better now because of all the hard work we did. We are rebounding very, very quickly. So again, it pays to be responsible. It pays to do these things and work with these customers, because now my emails are being inundated and flooded with, hey, we saw this post, you were at the VA, we have a program, we weren't carrying your product, but now we'd like to, how can we help? And as we get through COVID, these customers will not forget what you've done for them. They absolutely will remember you being out there. So part of my task now is going to visit these customers, support them, buy a coffee, I'll buy a latte for 2 or 3 other customers by paying it forward. Taking a quick snapshot of me in front of their customer or my customer in a coffee shop, sending it over to our corporate Instagram feed or social media feed, and then blasting it all over the place saying, hey, XYZ coffee shop is open right now. Go in there, support the smaller guy and help us support them. So again, that full circle of, doing well economically and then pushing it back and helping those smaller companies will actually help you in sales. And that's what I have. So thanks for your attention. And now Q&A.
Just in time. Okay, I have a pretty long question, and I'm assuming that this person is a scientist. Fantastic presentation so far. I recognize, however, that your coffee is made with almond milk. Current scientific research has shown that the use of almond milk is taking a toll on our environment, especially in California, because it is a water-intensive crop. This is further compounded by pesticide use during almond production, since this contributes to toxification of already limited drinking water spaces. What about using other non-dairy alternatives in your products?
Absolutely. So this is our oat milk right now has become our #1 seller. So oats right now is the biggest product in the world. Oat milk is taking the world by storm because in a latte and coffee, it tastes, people can't distinguish the difference between some oat milks and dairy milk. Our oat milk has been adopted by the best coffee shops in the United States and now throughout the world since we've opened up in the UK and Australia. And again, going back to the almond grower, so we do work with an almond family, an almond growing family. It's a 2nd generation almond family in Bakersfield in the San Joaquin Valley. And by buying directly from them, again, we cut out the middleman. We have direct relationships with them. They use a water drip system. They also cultivate their own honeybees. So what they're doing, the big word right now is colony collapse disorder with the honeybees. Well, we're working with an almond company that is being responsible with water use. And they're also raising the honeybees that are going around the nation and, helping other orchards and other fruits and vegetables grow. So talk about a double or triple whammy, we're making sure we're covered by having these direct relationships and choosing the correct partner. Now, although almond use does take a lot of water, it is still half of what the dairy industry uses to get a gallon of milk. So again, almonds, sometimes I think they get too bad of a rap because people are still drinking milk, or the dairy industry is still profiting. And, the amount of water and resources they use is twice as bad as almonds. But again, the good news is that we are a company that we're always looking out for other products. So we have oat right now that is leading the way. And that takes, I think, 1/4 or 10% of the resources it takes to grow the almonds.
I'm seeing a question here that was sent to me privately. What area of focus would you recommend for non-food-based companies to practice corporate social responsibility?
Ask that question one more time.
What area of focus would you recommend for non-food-based companies to practice corporate social responsibility?
Maybe those companies would want to partner, if it's a tech company, maybe they want to partner with a vegan company like Califia Farms. Before COVID, I was going into Salesforce and they had a coffee shop upstairs and they had a cafe, a full-blown cafe. So why not maybe have, be corporate responsible and say, hey, you know what, from now on, all of our food is going to be vegan. Or, maybe there's um, a program to where, hey, we have a leadership program, which Califia does now. We have a leadership program. Maybe you can create a leadership program that addresses, the LGBTQIA community, different ethnicity community. How can you help grow the company socially responsible? Take what's going out in the real world now and implement them inside of your own business, which is what Califia Farms is doing.
I'm seeing another comment. Are you a traditional business with a social thrust, or is Califia considered to be a social enterprise, profit for purpose?
No, we are a for-profit business, but our logo and our ethos is to protect the planet, to make better products for you. So basically, with these other larger companies that have a lot of sugary products or products that aren't as clean for you, we're basically the counterculture to them. So we are profit driven, and we're privately owned. However, our company ethos is that of cleaner nutrition, better nutrition for you.
Any other questions? I actually would like to say I thought the presentation was very good. I'm seeing that in the comments also, where everyone enjoyed the presentation. Thanks a lot, Mark. And for me, I don't know if anyone else knew this, but I did not know that almond was a fruit.
Yes.
I did not know that almond was a fruit. So that was a learning point for me. And you mentioned something, and I took a note of it. Companies tend to think, why give back? How does that translate into dollars? And the thing is, sometimes the feel good of things is not enough for companies, especially in Jamaica, when things seem to be so hard. Right now our dollar is at about 152 to $1. How would you recommend, especially for startups, that they build corporate social responsibility or they develop corporate social responsibility in a environment right now where economically it's difficult? What activities would you suggest that we could do if it is that we can't give products or service? What else are we able to do to be able to support a mandate of wanting to be relevant while giving back?
Well, I think what you need to do is consider smaller steps. So whatever your business has, if you can take a small step and say, look, we're sourcing, microchips. We're sourcing them from this one new brand that we're having. We're sourcing it from a better place, or we're going to go direct with them. If you can go out to the community, if you don't have a lot of dollars with whatever it is, software, food and beverage, and maybe support a smaller business or support a scholarship program or a school and say, hey, we're going to donate some of these products for you to do to test, and maybe R&D. So maybe you get the community involved or a school involved or somebody involved that's less fortunate. The idea is to work with the community. You don't have to give away the farm, or you don't have to give away a lot of resources to get that positive feedback back. So for example, when we have new products, I go to as many cafes as I can just to get them involved in saying, okay, what's your feedback? How can we do better? Because immediately the community feels that they're getting involved. And if they feel like they're getting involved, that's going to be a windfall for the company, because they're going to feel that they're a part of that business. they're going to, like, if the company does well, they're going to feel better about that. So they're going to stick with you and always promote you. So that being socially active, where do you source your products? Why do you source your products? You know, who are you hiring? Can you hire a student? Can you go out in the community and help others? These things don't take a lot of resources. Honestly, they take more time. So if you can devote more of that time, you know, in my opinion, that will come back and add to your bottom line.
Thanks for that. I am seeing another question. Do you buy almonds from local Jamaican farmers?
No, unfortunately, all of our business is done in California. So the majority of our fruits, vegetation, nuts, what have you, all come from the San Joaquin Valley, because all of our products are made here and then they're shipped in other places. So not yet, but
Another question that asks, is it available in the Caribbean? Is your product available in the Caribbean?
yes, I believe it is. We don't have a direct channel to the Caribbean, but we do have a lot of brokers and customers who ship the product when they buy it. So oddly enough, 2, 3 years ago, we were finding our products in South America, in the Philippines, in Asia, because the brokers, the international brokers, knew that the minute they showed our products being from California, being vegan, being healthy, that it would translate into big sales. So it's already started. So as we grow, we'll be able to support that sales business. So you're just going to see a lot of kind of hodgepodge, smaller distributors selling out there just because there's a need for it. But once we get the right salesperson in line, you'll see a lot of the products.
I haven't seen any here, unfortunately.
We'll work on it.
Someone has asked, how has COVID-19 affected your operations, both positive and negative, and have you had to pivot?
Okay, so yes, we have had to pivot. The positive in the beginning, again, was that the grocery stores were selling a ton of products. So the retail space was working very, very well. So that was a very positive and big impact on our bottom line. Now, the negative impact was my side of the business, which was the most profitable side, was decimated by 60 to 70%. So luckily, the positive from the grocery stores, because the scale was so large, helped offset some of the losses from my side of the business, or the food sector, the food service side of the business. Now, and then also, you know, we had to make, every company had to we had to retool. I mean, all of our Bakersfield, our plant, we've got heat guns. We're very strict with who goes in and out of the plant now. So all of those things take time. But you know, a long-lasting positive effect is that a lot of the coffee shops that are surviving have turned into makeshift grocery stores. So if you went to a coffee shop, you no longer just bought coffee, but you were able to buy fruits, vegetables, drinks, the almond milk, coffee, and also toilet paper and a face mask. So what it's doing is it's actually transforming a lot of the small business owners to become the smaller grocery store, because so many of those smaller grocery stores were wiped out by larger grocery stores. So I actually like the effect that it's having on the coffee community, because it's helping these business owners and small entrepreneurs think outside of the box.
See another question here. Are CSR and philanthropy the same?
No, I don't think they are. I think they're a little bit different. I think, you know, that's a gray area, because you know, if you're a philanthropic, if you're a company that's 100% into philanthropy, then you know you're working for like the Melinda and Bill Gates Foundation, right? They're 100% geared towards that. But it doesn't mean that you can't run a business and push your way into that area of giving back. And so I think the better businesses I think can kind of gravitate towards that style of business of being a full-on philanthropic type of business.
Another,
You taking questions via?
yes, Michael, feel free.
Oh, hi. I um I came in a bit late, but I think I've gotten a good feel of the presentation, and I must say it is in line with what we here at the Jamaica Stock Exchange as is encouraging for companies, whether they are listed or not, but more so our listed companies, because I will add to the fact that it is mandatory that CSR is something our listed companies is encouraged to do, although I said it's mandatory because you call it moral persuasion, but it is something that we have our best practices award, where we award companies for upholding best practices standard throughout the year. And CSR is highly rated as part of the scoring that we do for them, as well as it's mandatory for them to have it in their annual report. So it's not just to speak it, and it's also a part of their corporate governance requirements as well. So we place a significant importance on CSR because
Yes.
of course we understand the environmental impact, not only the environmental impact, but also the social impact, especially in a country like Jamaica, where some of these large corporations do make really good profit, and we need to have it shared with the community at large as well. So it's not only the environmental side, but also the social side and how that impacts our corporation. So from your side, how does the social part, I think I heard you said something about purchasing from farmers, and it helps to build a community where that is concerned. But we here treat it and see it as extremely important, and it adds to the bottom line, I must add.
Yeah. So Michael, is that you?
Yes, yes.
Okay, yeah, Michael, thank you for sharing that. So I will say in the last few larger business opportunities that I've had going out on a sales call, one of the most important sales decks that I've had to present was our social responsibility and our ethos deck. So thanks for sharing that. And a lot of the companies that we work with now are demanding to see our social responsibility deck. And to know where are we sourcing our products, why are we sourcing them that way, and potentially is it doing any harm or is it doing any good? So I will say that that is a very important piece of the business that we are doing now. I can't tell you how many times I've had to send a separate deck just for corporate responsibility and social responsibility to these customers that I am pitching. So yes, it's extremely important. In every single one of my sales decks now, I will have that part of the program with me.
I'm seeing another question here. How are you going to source the constant supply of almonds, especially on a large scale?
How are we going to start the what?
Source the constant supply of almonds, especially on a large scale.
Well, there's plenty of almond supply. So luckily, Califia Farms now we're such a larger company that we have a lot of clout because we have become one of the big players in the almond milk business. So it's kind of like the futures market where we're going to buy X amount for 3 to 4 years. There's plenty of land in California. For example, if you drive from San Francisco to Los Angeles, you'll see nothing but almond orchards. If you go north of San Francisco to Manteca and the East Bay, you'll see almond orchards growing over there. So, and also I know in I think it's Italy, they grow almonds. So there's plenty of supply of almonds. You know, we work directly with the farmers. We work with one of the largest farmers of almond producers in the United States in Bakersfield. So there is no, we're not afraid of running out. I think the big talk now is oats. It's the oat market because oat milk is doing so well. So we're fine with the almond milk. Now it's how do we get a hold of, you know, the oat supply. So I would be more concerned with oat milk rather than the almond milk, because the oat milk is trending so much quicker now than almonds.
I've actually never had oat milk. I should try
Yeah, send me your address and I'll shoot you a few packages.
it. Sure. I'm seeing one more question. What is the governance structure of Califia?
Governance structure in what respect?
Tracy, would you maybe like to respond in the chat or unmute your mic?
You mean corporate governance, like from the board to management to the
I'm
bottom?
possibly thinking limited company, I guess registration type.
Oh, we're an LP. Yeah, we're listed as an LP at Califia Farms. A
Oh.
limited partnership, I believe.
Okay. Well, I would like to say again, Mark, thank you for making the time for this presentation. We oftentimes in the program tell our students that it is very important that they have corporate social responsibility, because it plays a big part. It sends a message to your partners, to your customers, to your potential customers about what alignment you're looking for. And I wrote a question that I think I ask my students often, you know, what is your company about and what does it want to be known for? What type of alignment do you want to go through your development stages being known for? And I think that this is a great end to our webinar series. I believe that our students have benefited a lot. I would like to thank Mr. Michael Johnson, who is actually one of our partners on the program from the Jamaica Stock Exchange, for attending our corporate social responsibility webinar today. I think it is great when our partners have buy-in. And a big, big, big thank you and shout out to Mrs. Sabrina Hosang Jordan for hooking us up, Mark, for, you know, allowing us to have this webinar, have a different perspective. We so appreciate the fact that, you know, Sabrina and the entire Hosang family have been able to provide this avenue for entrepreneurs across the entire university campus. I think that this summer series was excellent. The feedback has been very good. My email is very filled with responses, questions, when are the recordings going live? So I have the YouTube link here. All the videos except for today is up. They're up and ready to be rewatched and watched. And as I said to everyone, note takers are money makers. This is probably the last time that they're gonna hear me say it, but you know, thanks for everything. Thanks for the attendance. And thank you so much again, Sabrina. And thank you, Mark. We really did enjoy the series.
Ashley, if I may, I'm actually here with my dad. We're in the car because he had an appointment, but I just want to say thanks to you, Ashley, and Janice and the team for organizing it. And thank you, a big thanks to Mark for taking time out of your schedule to do this presentation. Gerald spoke very highly of you. I know Gerald's on the call, so thank you, Gerald. And actually, you know, the Vincent Hosang Entrepreneurship Program was born because of our philanthropic efforts, and you know, my family has been giving back since before I was born. So you know, we do a lot for the community, and as Mark said, you know, the community will support you if you support them. So that's great advice, very informative, and it's very helpful, the information that you gave, Mark. So thank you so much for taking that time. And just I don't know if my dad wants to say anything. He didn't get to see the presentation, but he just joined us at the end. So just want to say thanks again.
Congrats, folks. Congratulations.
Thank you, Sabrina. And I look forward to the new cohort that we will be welcoming this September, the new group of students. Looking forward to making more impact and being able to possibly do this series again. And I really want to thank Sabrina again, and thank you, Mark, for making the time today. As I said, great way to end our webinar series. And guys, remember, note takers are money makers. I have my post-its every webinar series. And as I said, did not go away without learning something. I did not know almond was a fruit. So I'm happy to know that. And as I said, note takers are money makers. Log on to our YouTube to watch our recorded sessions. And thank you guys for making the time.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.